Hi, good evening everybody. In this video we're going to take a look at contracts and the big one that's coming up for us, Tage Thompson, coming up. All right, this is probably a topic we don't even want to discuss really, because that's where all that cap space starts to disappear all of a sudden, and Tage is coming into a new deal next summer. So let's take a look. I was listening to After the Whistle, and there was some very interesting topics they talked about, talking about this topic, you know. One player I tossed in here they didn't mention, which I think should be also mentioned in this conversation. So what I want to do, guys, I want to show you 3 examples of what I think we should not do, okay? This is what other teams do. Doesn't mean we have to follow the leader and, you know, continue to follow that pattern in the NHL. At some point, logic has to dictate a contract. It just does. So let's take a look. Guys, I'm just going to do 2 videos tonight. I got this one. I got another one coming at you. A request video. This is the next one. So I'm going to go to 3 examples, guys, and why I just think they could be great deals in the long run, or they could be awful and backfire and be hindering to a franchise for years. Where, you know, no, you can't tell me anybody with a straight face that the Okposo contract was a good contract. It was a horrible contract. It was. For many years, you go on channels, and, you know, not just me, but other channels that would say how bad of a contract it was till last year. I'm not going to pretend, you know, so don't do the fake thing with me that Okposo was this. No. Okposo did not provide what we paid for till last year. Hopefully he can give us another year like that before his contract runs out. I hope so. I do. You know, I'll be happy with 15 goals from Okposo this year. Okay, so let's take a look at example number 1. I just don't think we want to follow what these teams have done. Here we go. Nick Suzuki. And you'll hear all sorts of channels saying what a superstar this guy is and everything. And yes, he's a good hockey player, but no, his numbers don't dictate it. Sorry. 71 games, 41 points, 56 games, 41 points, 82 games. Not a bad year last year, 61 points. And before he got those points, literally, I mean, he signed that contract. And let's take a look at this contract. And there you see it. You got 8 years at 7.875. And take a look at the salary, folks, the first 3 years of this deal. If this guy doesn't provide a superstar impact on this team, they're paying him $10 million. So 8 years at 7.875. And let's face it, folks, 21 goals doesn't dictate $8 million. It just doesn't. I don't get it. I just don't get it sometimes. You're going to pay a guy on potential? Really? What if you're wrong? What if it backfires? What if in a few years from now his numbers don't get any better and they stay like that? It's a lot of money, you know? Okay, example number 2. Here we go. And Ottawa just gave this guy a massive deal. You take a look at his numbers before this year. He had 1 season, unless you want to count the 3 games the year before, but he had 1 season, 56 games, 17 goals, 18 assists, 35 points. And this year, he had a very impressive 35 goals, but only 20 assists for 55 points and 66 games. And he also was a -7. And I should mention Suzuki, okay, because the minus should count. The minus should count. Okay, he was a -29. He scored 21 goals. -8 in that department. I look at that. I look at those things. You know, Norris, 35 goals, a -7, a +28, you know. Look, Norris absolutely, I think, is the stud of the 3 I'm showing you. I mean, absolutely, this guy shows the best potential, I believe, of these 3 I'm going to show you is worth the money. You know, and I said, these are all good players, don't get me wrong. But I think the best player is Josh Norris of these 3 I'm going to show you. So let's take a look at his contract. 8 years times $7.95 million. 8 years, Let that sink in, times 7.95 million. For a guy that has had one 35-goal season, and that's it. It's high risk. Again, guys, it's high risk. All right, let's go to player number 3. And Robert Thomas just came into a big contract. You take a look at his numbers. They were not good until this year. 9 goals, 24 assists for 33 points. His second season, 10 goals, 32 assists for 42 points, a little better. And last year, he played only 33 games, but he only had 3 goals, 9 assists for 12 points. And this year, 72 games, 20 goals, 57 assists for 77 points. Now, let's take a look at his contract. And take a look. 8 years times $8.125 million a year. And what's insane is their fans are happy with this contract. 8 years times 8.1 for a guy that has scored 20 goals once in his entire career so far. Yes, these guys are young. They're not old. All these guys are first rounders. I get it. But they're getting paid like they've already, broke NHL records, these guys. They're all getting about $8 million, right? So far. Now, we'll talk about this just for a second. I need to get a towel. It's hot in here. But $8 million for guys that just have never had a 20-goal season to this year. And mind you, Josh Norris, yes, he had a very good season. Big season. Absolutely. But I don't want to see the Sabres follow suit with what these 3 teams have done. I don't want to see it. I don't, with Tage. Let's look at Tage's season here, okay? You can clearly see before this year, nothing really happened. He showed some signs, he did. We all seen it. We did. But Tage, 38 goals, minus 17, so he's a plus 21 there if you look at it that way. That's just kind of how I subtract it, guys. Just one of those things I do. It's not really how it's supposed to be done. It's just how I do it because I'm looking at money here. Now, Tage had, as we know, an awesome season. Just an awesome season. 38 goals, 30 assists, 68 points. Phenomenal season. Absolutely. I don't want to take nothing away from that. But it's one season, okay? It's one season. One. It's not 3 seasons of 38, 35, 36. You know what I mean? I really want to see what he does this year. And even then, we got to be logical. I think if we go $8 million, we're just following suit like these other teams that are going to need cap space that won't have it because of contracts like they did this year. I want to be a team that tries to at least maintain a little cap space between contracts. And Tage seems to be the type of character that might just take a fair deal. Okay, I want to give you an example how one of those kind of backfired, one of those deals. Kind of. Here we go. Okay, so you see William Karlsson, as we all know, not too long ago, guys. You see he had that 43-goal season in the 2018 first big year of Vegas. Everything looked like it was, all the pistols were firing, everything was going good. The next year, though, he hit 24 goals. He had still, it wasn't a bad year, but let's take a look at his contract. After he had, keep in mind, this contract I'm going to show you was after he got the 24-goal season. Here it is. So he got signed, there it is, 8 years to $5.9 million. Now imagine if he would have hit another 40-goal season, what that contract would have looked like. Guys, it would have looked bigger than this. It would have for sure, right? But he, luckily for them, okay, 5.9. So he's in the 4th year, as you see, the 4th year coming up of that contract. He's done 3 years of that contract. Let's look at his numbers again. And take a look at the last 3 years, what he's done since he's made that big money. 15 goals, 14 goals, 12 goals. You get where I'm coming from. This is something that's alarming for me, okay? It just is. I'm not saying that Tage is going to tank and you know what I mean? No, it's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, guys, we do have to be careful. We do. We can't just be tossing money out there because all of us are excited. Like the dumbest thing for us as fans, is hoping they spend money. Like, look what we did with Skinner. That was another bad contract. Still a bad contract right now, guys, even after his year. Let's be honest here, it is. You know, the Skinner contract backfired. It did. Big time. He had 40 goals, cashed in, and you guys know how we suffered with that contract for 2 years, right? And this year, we could breathe a little, right? We could just breathe a little finally with this horrible contract. It was nice to breathe for a year, even if we get 3 breathing years out of all of it. You know, it's just anything to be able to breathe in this contract a little. That was a terrible contract, the Skinner deal. It still is. You know, if we could trade it out, I'd do it. I would, I swear. I would do it right now if we could. Nobody's going to bite that contract. But people, management, fans all bite on the now. Everybody's into the now. And that's why hockey fans will claim they have the answers and pretend that they know better and say, well, you know what? Yeah, he's going to be this and he's going to be... We don't know. Norris might get 50 goals next year. He might get 15. We don't know what he's going to do. None of us do. You know, you can't only pay him potential. You got to pay him results too. And it's got to be more than a small sample size of one season. I'm you know, and I'm grateful that he's not RFA this summer, Tage Thompson. I'm grateful, guys. I'd rather roll the dice he's not going to repeat what he's going to do next season. I hope he does. Don't get me wrong. I hope he gets 50 goals this season. And if he does go on a crazy pace again this year, yeah, it's more that I'm convinced it's a real thing because Tage is young, right? And keep in mind the Karlsson numbers, okay? When he signed the contract, he was Tage's age right now. Right now. He was Tage's age when he signed that deal. You guys see how it broke down after with Karlsson. Now, Karlsson's just one example, but we all know he's a good player. If the Sabres picked up Karlsson, I'd be happy. As long as their salary retained, I'd be happy getting this guy and resurrecting his career in Buffalo. I like all these players, guys, just for the record. These are all good hockey players. They all got overpaid. Maybe not Karlsson so much, but they all got overpaid, the other 3. They got way overpaid. Way too soon. And fans that are comfortable with that just don't get it. They really don't get it. That there's going to come a time eventually you're going to look back and say, oof, you know, maybe we shouldn't have done this. You know, we've lived it, right, with Skinner, so we know. And Skinner has had more goals than any of these guys. Skinner has been a better goal scorer than any of these guys in his career. And we still know Skinner, even years later, is still a bad contract, and his is 9. So it's like, I get it's not that much more, but come on. I think we got to be careful is what I'm saying with Tage. You know, I would like to see them lock in Tage 6.5. That's the number I'm going to throw at you. Tell me what you think of that one. 6.5. And people say, oh, he'll never take that. Sorry, he's a man of God. How do you know his faith, right? You don't know. You don't know what's in somebody's heart. People that say he'll never take that, he'll never take this, he'll never take that. You know, the Gaudreau signing, everybody thinks it's because of like, it was a money thing. And no, absolutely no. He left money. He took a little less, really. You know, it didn't matter to him. Really, the player wants to be happy. I think Tage is happy in Buffalo. So that says for something. All his friends are here. His kid's born in Buffalo, right? I'm saying here like I'm there with you guys. I'm in Montreal. But you know what I'm saying? I think we just got to be careful, guys. I don't want to jump on an 8.5 million. Like her, you know, on after the whistle, I was listening to. They were real. It's a good hear, guys. Go check it out. It was really a fun hear. I think it was part 2 of the free agents they were talking or the money one. Anyway, it was really good. It was really good to listen to, and it got me. I said, you know, I'm going to make a video on this just a little different because I wanted to throw in Suzuki also because that bothers me. And guys, if you want to look at some bad contracts, look no further than Dallas right now. You got 2 guys. What are they making? Right? They're making like $9.5 million, aren't they? Let me just see this. I'm going to close it up, guys. They're making a ton of money over there, Ben and Seguin. Let me just check. Yeah, 9.85 for Tyler Seguin for 5 more years. And Ben, 3 more years at 9.5. Ouch. We don't want to wind up like that. We wind up like that, we're not winning a cup. We're not. Bad money management is what will kill you in the playoffs because you won't have the money to reach out one last chance before the playoffs. One more addition that can really put you over the hump. You know, like, it worries me. Guys, that's all it is. All right, I'm cutting this video. I've yacked enough about this, all right? But it's just, you see where I'm coming from? Just be careful, management. Please be careful, because we do not want to lock ourselves into long-term deals at the expense of others, that we can't sign them eventually. That's the main thing. See you in the next one, guys.